10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Ninja vanish.
What's up?
Hello. From the Kiko fan club.
Kiko fan club. Oh, Jared, I didn't show you this. I did this one up just for Honda the other day. I said, see, now next time you're like, I hate Kiko. You're gonna be thinking about this. That's what you're gonna be thinking about.
That's your time for MASH.
Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's Saturday night. This is the Week in Geek podcast where we will talk about some stuff. I don't know what. I have no idea. No, that's not true. I just wrote down. No, I had no agenda for tonight other than I just wrote down a list of all the things I've watched in like the last week, which was surprisingly a lot of shit. So it's kind of a free-for-all chat. So we're just gonna shoot the shit and talk about whatever the fuck comes up. I don't really know or care, but yeah, like the last few weeks, because at the end of the year we always do like top 10 this and top 10 that, and then last week we did most anticipated movies of 24 and all this other crap. I got no plan for tonight. So if y'all came here looking for a plan, like a steady stream of like, entertainment, I don't know if I can provide that tonight. So just, I'm sorry. I apologize. I got nothing. I got no lists. I got no brackets. I got nothing for tonight. So we're just here to chill, and I don't know what. I don't know what the hell we're gonna do. I don't know. Anyway, but we're here. I've got Leo and Jared with me this evening because everybody else is late. They always are. So.
Well, I'm normally late on Saturdays, but I wasn't tonight.
It's true. You were early tonight. So
for a split second, I thought those was like a bunch of booty parts.
I'm not articulated enough for that.
It's true. Dwayne in the chat says, "Echo thoughts." You're chatting in the wrong one, I think, right? I feel like you're chatting in the wrong one. But whatever. I don't know. You're putting the wrong name in the wrong chat, I think. Right? Aren't you? Because it's not. Yeah, you're putting the wrong name in the wrong chat. But that's all right. Whatever. Yeah, I did watch Echo this week. My wife really liked it. As I was telling Jared the other night, last night, I don't remember when we talk about things anymore. It wasn't awful, and that's about as okay. I'm trying to okay. There wasn't anything inherently like, oh my god, about it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this was horrible or whatever. The only thing I didn't like is they gave her powers. They worked it into some like Native American ancient spirit power thing.
What?
I'm like, in the comics, she doesn't have powers. Like,
no, she's human.
Yeah, and they gave her this thing
she
where
doesn't have extra sensory powers or anything else, and she's not an amputee in the comics either.
Yeah, and they gave her something that like all the people in her family have been passed down this power to, and it's not even like a set power. It's like it comes from some Native American. It does not explain it, so I don't know what they were, but it's like.
And she's not Native American in the comics either.
Well, people that weren't really people, and I guess they were extra dimensional or aliens. I don't know what the hell they were supposed to be because it just shows them wake up buried deep beneath the earth in like these ponds, and they wake up looking very different. They look like aliens, kind of, or like almost like they got marks on their face similar to like Thanos and stuff. And anyway, they wake up, but then when they wake up and join the surface of the earth, like the outside of their skin falls off and they look human underneath. And I don't know what it was, but that's like the ancestor, the precursor to her particular Native American tribe, and then there's some power that's passed down through the generations that comes out for her in the very last episode when she needs it most. Which was the only part I didn't like, because I was like, I would have been better. She didn't need powers. She doesn't, like, the powers only pop up one time in the whole show, in one particular fight at the very end of the last episode. That's it. Other than that, she's just badass on her own throughout the whole show, which I'm fine with. It was I don't know. It was fine. Again, it wasn't awful. I mean, I would say I was more entertained watching that than I was Secret Invasion, if that says anything, but I don't think it really does, because
Secret Invasion is probably one of the worst.
Yeah.
ones.
Like, look, it if I got to compare it to things, I'm comparing it to all the other Marvel shows that have come out. Loki's still amazing, and I love Loki. I still really like Hawkeye. That's probably my second favorite. I still love WandaVision. That show's better. I still really like Moon Knight. I know Moon Knight wasn't everybody's taste, but I really liked it. So that was better. I would put it on par with, like, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, as in, like, Falcon and Winter Soldier wasn't awful, but I was not, like, a huge Falcon and Winter Soldier fan. Like, there was aspects of it I liked. And I loved why am I blanking on his name? John. I keep wanting to say John Stewart. It's not Green Lantern. John. Fuck's his name? U.S. agent. John
Walker.
Walker. Thank you. Fuck me. I like John Walker a lot in it. Like, I like John Walker. I thought John Walker was a great character. And I like the introduction of the Thunderbolts in that show. And I liked the scenes when Falcon and Bucky were hanging out with Falcon's family, because I thought they were very entertaining. And the fact that his sister was always hitting on Bucky and shit, like, that was funny. But the main story having to do with terrorists, I was just completely bored by and thought it was a shit story, right? Yep. So I look at Falcon and Winter Soldier and go, well, it wasn't awful. Like, it had some entertainment value. That's how I look at Echo. It wasn't awful. It had some entertainment value. It's certainly better than other things Marvel has done. But, like, one of the saving graces for it, though, is that it is only 5 episodes. And so the story moves pretty quick. And I will say, fucking Kingpin is great in it. He really, like, you get a decent amount of time with Kingpin, just being Kingpin, and in a little bit in a different way than we saw him in Daredevil or in Hawkeye, in the sense that, like, Echo's not somebody he's trying to kill. You know what I mean? Like, you're seeing a different side of him, and, like, what he would do, even though she doesn't want to have anything to do with him, what he would do to protect her. And you're seeing a different side of him, and that character's fucking great. I mean, yeah, Kingpin is the Kingpin character. I love the way that Kingpin is portrayed. I loved him in Daredevil. He wasn't as written as well for Hawkeye, but he's certainly gone back to more of that Daredevil sinister, evil feel in this. Yet still, the Echo's a character that, like, he cares about. So, like, Kingpin was great in it. Again, it's not awful.
Who's playing Kingpin?
That's the nicest thing I can say about it. It's not awful.
Person.
It's the same person, Vincent, how do you say his name?
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And he's great. He makes a perfect fucking Kingpin. Like, he really does. I love him as Kingpin.
That's why I was hoping he was still playing Kingpin, because I liked him.
So
I wish he could have got that role when he's younger. He could have
no shit.
Version.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's about the most I can say about it. So I don't know if that helps anybody make their decision to watch it. Like, I'm not saying don't watch it, but don't expect a lot from it either. You know, I will say the fight scenes were really good. And it was definitely more violent than any of the other Marvel shows we've gotten, which was nice. And like I was telling you last night, Jared, the thing that people were complaining about in that trailer that dropped or whatever it was, that teaser where she's fighting Daredevil, where everybody was like, I saw a bunch of people complaining online. They were like, "Oh, Daredevil, she's kicking Daredevil's ass." That wouldn't happen. It doesn't happen. I don't know. I did not watch that trailer, so I don't know how they cut it. But Daredevil shows up one time for 90 seconds in the first episode, and she does not kick his ass. Like, he's playing with her, trying to get her to stop, and he's still kicking her ass. Even when she busts out a shotgun and is doing all her fancy shit, she still does not kick his ass. And then he just leaves her alone because, he doesn't want to kick her ass. Because they didn't say this in the show, but, I feel like he looked at her and was just like, it's just a girl. I don't want to kick her ass. Because you can see when he's doing it, he's kind of like, okay, come on. Like, he's, kind of playing around and not real. Because you just watched him roll in and just fucking annihilate 4 other dudes. And then he kind of leaves her alone and is trying to get her to back off, thinking she will leave, but she doesn't. She confronts him. He was not even going to do anything to her until she starts fucking with him. And then she busts out a shotgun and shit. And he just leaves her. He's just like, all right, I don't have time for this. He kind of dismisses her.
That's
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she does not kick his ass at all. And then they only play that scene to kind of play into the buildup of who she is with Kingpin, where it's and Kingpin's, the nicest thing Kingpin says to her is, well, you lasted longer than anyone else has with him. It's well, yeah. I mean, technically, yeah. But he wasn't trying, but okay. Kingpin knows that she would have lost, but yeah, I don't know. It was okay. It's not anything anybody's gonna remember. You know what I mean?
I did see that they're gonna bring the 2 characters that they were going to kill off on the Daredevil series. What's her name? Foggy and Nelson and Karen Page.
Yeah.
They're bringing those characters back. Now they're redoing it.
Really?
They were
Same
planning on
actor?
having those characters killed off screen with the original story.
Is that the same actors?
I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know what the new Daredevil's even. I haven't, to my knowledge, I haven't seen any story leaks or anything. I mean, we know there are characters in it, and they told us from the beginning. Punisher's going to be in it at some point. Kingpin's going to be in it at some point. Daredevil, obviously. So when they said Karen and Foggy were killed off screen, I was like, well, that sucks for them as characters, but do I really give a shit if they're in this story? So it depends on what the story is. If the story is something that oh yeah, they should totally have been in this. It's going to make
Karen
sense.
Page basically was
Foggy doesn't have a goddamn thing to do with anything unless Matt is just needs a moment. We have to write a scene where he has to talk to his best friend, or we're in a courtroom. If you don't have one of those 2 scenes, Foggy doesn't fucking matter at all.
But we do need a hot redhead chick, though.
But Karen, well, here's the other thing, though. Karen Page already had a huge story arc in the Daredevil series of being the secretary to the lover, and then the fucking going through a rough time, and then almost dying, and then Punisher saved her, and then she leaves, and then she comes back. And so we don't need to repeat any of Karen Page's, which they covered a lot of Karen Page's comic book story arc that took years and years to cover in the Daredevil seasons in 3 seasons. And I don't need to rehash any of that shit. You know what I mean? I don't need to see her be the new secretary again. I don't need to see her be the potential, Matt Murdock lover. I don't need to see her life go to shit and then her leave and then her come back. I don't need to see any of those story arcs again, because I know this is supposed to be a different universe, but we already just saw that 6-7 years ago. I don't need to see all that shit again with the exact same 2 characters played by the exact same 2 actors. So I don't know how important she needs to be to this story either. So again, I don't really care if they are or aren't in it. I just want the story to be good.
Right. That makes sense.
You know what I mean? I don't need to see them again, because Foggy, no offense to Foggy, there's only, like I said, there's only 2 types of scenes that it even matters for him to be in. And to be honest, I don't need to see too much of Daredevil in a fucking courtroom. Like a couple scenes here and there, cool.
Yeah.
You know, a couple scenes of him needing to talk to his best friend, cool.
The fired writers were doing, they were making it a courtroom drama.
And they were
the
did
ones
play
that
a
wrote
lot.
She-Hulk, and you
So they
saw-
decided to take Foggy out when they were making it a courtroom drama. That shows how fucking smart they are, because that's the scenes you need Foggy in.
These are also the same writers from She-Hulk. You see how well they wrote
Yeah.
courtroom drama from that.
The same writers.
But those are fired now.
She-Hulk was
Oh,
fucking
good.
horrible.
Good.
Although I will say the best episode of She-Hulk was the episode that spent the most time in the courtroom. And don't lie, you know it's true. It's the only good episode of She-Hulk. And it's the Madison and Wongers episode. And it's the only episode in She-Hulk where almost the entire episode took place in the fucking courtroom.
That was the only,
Of course, it was not good because it took place in a courtroom. And it wasn't good because of the She-Hulk character. It was good because of Madison and Wongers.
Well, what's probably hilarious, the fact if you find out, we could find out like what with Madison, they were probably trying to make fun of that type of woman, and people loved her.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because it was a great character. It was a very entertaining character, and the complete opposite personality types of her and Wong actually end up getting along and shit. Like just made for a great combo.
Yeah,
you know.
Do you think we'll get a Madison and Wong spinoff?
God, I hope so. I really
they should
fucking
do that instead of season 2.
Yes, they totally should.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see a series where Wong takes Madison to the underworld to get her soul back, and the demon she ended up selling her soul to ends up being Mephisto. Like that story that's right there, Marvel.
Right.
And I cannot be the only one who's mentioned that. I cannot be the only one who thought of that, because in the show she says she ended up in this other dimension where a demon guy looked like a goat fucking, you know, like she gave him her soul or whatever. Like, dude, you just wrote the plot for the series. Like, Wong takes her to the underworld to go get her soul back from fucking Mephisto, and you do like a buddy comedy trip action series, 6 episodes of that happening. You get to do a fun story with these 2 characters everybody loves. You get to write some good comedy, some good action, and you get to introduce Mephisto. Holy shit, come on. Like, that would be gold. Like, I don't know why they don't do this.
Because they know it probably works.
So, I don't know. But yeah. I don't know. Yeah, Echo, it wasn't awful. I don't know what else you want me to say. I've said way too much about that shit. You know a show I did watch this week that was actually legitimately really good. Is it? I don't know if it's Hulu. I think it's Hulu. Dropped a 8 episodes. I think. I don't remember how many it was. I think they dropped 8 episodes of a Ted TV series. You know, Ted, the talking bear.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Jesus.
Holy shit! It's fucking great. And each episode's like 30 to 40 minutes long. I think the first episode's a little bit longer. It's almost like 50 minutes long. It's like 8 episodes, and it doesn't hold back on anything. It is the exact same level of humor and everything and cussing and all that shit that the movies are. It's like a hard R TV series, and it was fucking great.
Is it like, say, like Ted 3? Is it like a continuation?
No. It's a prequel. It takes place when John is 16 years old in high school.
Oh, okay.
So this is a prequel series, and so some of the characters in the show are John's parents and his cousin, and you know, shit like that. Kids at school, and it's him and Ted. You know, and it's fucking great. I highly recommend it. If you liked the Ted series, you should definitely watch this. And I'll be honest, even if you know what it did, especially because this show brought in his family, and a lot of the show takes place like at the house, interactions with his mother and his father and his cousin who lives with him and all this shit. Like, it came across almost, because it's Seth MacFarlane's humor, right? It came across like a live action Family Guy. with like Ted mixed in, and Ted kind of takes the place of the fucking Brian character, and John is kind of the Stewie character, where they take the lead in a lot of the episodes of Family Guy. It felt like almost kind of like not the same characters, obviously, but like it felt kind of like, damn, they could really do like a live action Family Guy and it would work.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I'll have to check because I like the.
It was
Ted
good,
movies.
man. I didn't know what to expect. I like Seth MacFarlane's humor a lot. I like a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
And although I'm a bigger fan of American Dad than I am Family Guy. I love Family Guy. And I love the Ted movies. But I wasn't sure what to expect because I mean, honestly, when I heard like it's going to be on, Hulu or whatever the fuck it's on, one of the streaming services, I was like, oh, they're probably going to like tame it down. Nope, they did not. They didn't tame it down at all, and it was great. So, yeah, it was fun, man. I highly recommend that one.
So I got a question. I'm probably late to the party of seeing it, but what do you think of the Walking Dead trailer that dropped?
I was going to talk about that. I actually wrote that down here to talk about. I was going to wait till Duke got here, but apparently Duke's a little bitch, doesn't care about the Brotherhood, and decided he wasn't going to show up tonight. But they did the newest trailer, and I guess honestly the first full trailer we've gotten. We've got a little teaser. We got like a couple little teasers or something. This is an actual full trailer to the ones who live. Is it the ones that live? The ones who live.
The ones that lived.
And the trailer was great. Now
it looked fucking awesome.
Now, and after I watched it, I texted Duke because I was like, trailer looked fucking great, but I have been duped by too many great Walking Dead trailers in the last like 5 or 6 years. And then I get a shit season of television. So I am not getting my expectations up at all. I'm sorry. I'm not getting my expectations up. Walking Dead, basically, since Rick left the show, has disappointed me every fucking season. Every new show that's come out has disappointed me. The Fear the Walking or the Daryl show disappointed me. The Maggie and Negan show disappointed me. That anthology series like only had 2 good episodes. That disappointed me. The only thing that was consistent after Rick left the show was Fear the Walking Dead got really good for like 4 seasons when Morgan and John Dory were the main characters on the show. But then,
I agree.
Spoiler alert, they killed off John Dory, and then soon after, Morgan left the show again, and the show turned to shit again. So, Walking Dead has been a big disappointment, basically since Rick left the primary show. I'm sorry, I'm not going to get my hopes up for this show. Like, I'm going to watch it, just like I watch all the other trash that Walking Dead puts out. But I'm not getting my expectations up because I've been disappointed too many motherfucking times at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a shame as somebody who has been on the Walking Dead bandwagon since the day the show premiered. And dude, I'm telling you that Walking Dead has at times been some of the very best television I've ever seen in my life. Like, there have been episodes and seasons of Walking Dead that are absolutely fucking phenomenal and better than anything I've ever watched. But the consistency of quality started to go away when the Saviors showed up in season 6. The consistency started waffling a little bit, and then by the beginning of season 9, 8 or 9, when Rick left the show went to complete trash. So it's just been real hard to stay a fan of the show. Because
I get it. I understand. But I'm just excited to finally see them bring Rick back and actually explain where the fuck he's been and what's been going on. And is he going to be able to make it back to his family and to, quote unquote, the rest of the traditional Walking Dead. So hopefully they do it justice, at least this one,
Yeah. It's,
well, he's not going to make it back to Coral.
Mm-hmm.
Does Rick doesn't know that Michonne ended up having a kid by him, right? He only knows about Judith. When he left the show, was she already pregnant or?
I don't remember now that you're asking me that. I don't remember.
No, I think she already had him before he left.
I'm trying to remember back to that beginning because Rick was only in the first 6 episodes of season 9.
Yeah,
and I know there was a time jump between season 8 and 9 because it fast forwarded and Rick's now got like he's kind of starting to look a little older and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember for sure when she had the kid.
Yeah, I think Rick knows about the kid.
Because in the trailer he mentions obviously getting back to his wife and he loves his daughter, but he didn't say anything about his son. Obviously, we know Carl's dead, but he didn't say nothing about the one he had with Michonne.
Maybe he's just racist and he doesn't care about that son.
Damn it, you took my joke. Fuck.
Did Coral die before Rick left?
Oh yeah.
Carl, yeah.
Okay.
Carl died at the in season 8, right? I think Carl died in season 8.
Which is fucking stupid.
All the seasons blend together now.
Now I'm gonna be honest. I didn't give a shit. I'm sorry. No offense, but that kid couldn't act for shit.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying because, from how he started as a child and grew up in the world, and he started becoming a badass, and in season 4, I think it was 3 or 4, when or 4, because it's when they lose the prison and they're all separated, and he's getting chased by those, or not chased, but he's leading those 3 zombies away, and he falls and they fall on top of him, and he ends up killing them all. But in season 9, he gets taken out by one that gets him on the ribs. And I just thought it was fucking retarded how they killed him off that way. At least make it more believable because Carl did turn out to be a little badass in his own right.
Yeah, no, he did. He did. But I still didn't have any problem with them killing him off because he was a horrible actor.
It's the simplest act.
Like I genuinely hope that kid made enough money off this show to go to college and learn how to do something else. And I hope he has a very happy, successful life because acting should not be what he does. Because no, sorry, dude. Like it was fine when he was younger. You know what I mean? The show first started and he's supposed to be like, I don't know, 10 or something. And he doesn't have really any lines and doesn't really do anything or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's fine. But as he got on and he got older and he started having more lines and more more story, it started to show more and more. So, but I don't. Whatever, I don't really care. Although, and then there was the chick they brought in to play Judith in season 9. That kid could act circles around half the adults on the show.
Yeah.
So they did a huge jump there. Well,
of course, she's been acting, before she got on Walking Dead. She's already been acting since she was very young.
Yeah.
Well, so was Coral.
Well, Carl started off on that show. That was, I think, his first show was The Walking Dead.
Yeah, it's the only thing he ever did.
Yeah, she'd already been acting before the show, so she had more experience. Now, Carl did do a movie. I don't know if it was before he was killed off on The Walking Dead or after, but he's been in things since The Walking Dead.
Yeah, well, I imagine he's been in stuff since The Walking Dead because it made him...
Wasn't good, though.
Yeah.
Being honest, that movie wasn't good.
I don't know why, but for some reason I cannot see in the chat, guys, and I'm sorry for this. When you guys at me in the chat, for some reason it is not showing up, and I don't know why. Which sucks. Like, normally if you do, like, okay, if you're on the Geek Fusion side and you do at Geek Fusion, it usually will show up in orange for me. And for some reason today it's not. So I'm sorry if I miss your comments, dudes. I'm sorry. I'm just my brain because I've got the chat here. I got other stuff going on here. The camera's here. My and when I say I got the chat here, I got the StreamYard open here, chat's over here, and I rely on those little orange things popping up to let me know somebody's added me in the chat, and it's not working today. Like I'm having to look for comments that say my name. So
say my name.
I'm sorry. Like, okay, so just now Quinn and Jen, because that's as much of your name as I'm going to say, both said my name. But like normally that would be highlighted in orange for me, and it would catch my attention, and it's not today. So I don't know what's going on with YouTube's chat system right now, but it's not working for me like it should.
YouTube not working properly?
Having problems and not doing the shit it's supposed to do? How strange. Good
say
Lord.
my name. Say my name.
Jared, me and me were talking about this last night. I watched the new Justice League movie, Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths, Part 1.
I liked it a lot.
And it like I was telling you last night, it's the first good DC animated show I've seen in several years. Because most of the stuff that they've come out with since they ended the last animated universe, which it ended with Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, which was what, 2019, I think? 2018, 2019? 2019. I don't remember. And since then, all the animated stuff that has come out from DC, I have not liked at all. I've not been a fan. I've tried. I've watched the Supergirl one, which was Supergirl in the future with the League. Not the League. What do they call themselves? Legion of Superheroes. That one wasn't good. The Green Lantern one wasn't good. I watched one of the Batman ones. That wasn't good. The Superman one wasn't good.
That one line in the Supergirl one's like, Sunday and Grundy don't rhyme. Yes, they do.
They absolutely do. I watched that last Justice League one, Justice League War World. That one wasn't good at all. Like, I've watched several of them, and none of them are good. This one was actually legitimately good. It was not the greatest DC animated thing I've ever seen, but like I enjoyed it. It's the first one I have enjoyed in this new universe, and now by the time they're putting good stuff out, they're about to reboot it. Now, I know why they're rebooting it, and that's because of all the stuff going on at DC and WB with James Gunn coming in and taking over, and they've said from the get-go they want the games, the movies, the animated stuff, the TV stuff, all to be in the same universe. So I get why they're rebooting it. I get why they're rebooting it for that reason. They're also rebooting it because I don't think really anybody has liked the stuff.
What I understand too, for what James Gunn's wanting to do too, whoever's going to be voicing playing the live action roles, he wants them to voice the animated characters too,
which makes sense. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's cool to have a continuity over there. Which
so but yeah, it was good. It's like is this going to be 2 parts, 3 parts? Do we know how many parts this is going to be?
I have no idea how many parts, but if they're this level of quality, it's some of the best stuff they've done in a while.
Oh yeah, it's the best thing they've done since the last animated universe.
And it's nothing like it's kind of like the original Crisis on Infinite Earths, but it's the completely different story.
They pepper some stuff in there.
Yeah.
No, you could definitely like. Okay, I can see. They kept they're in the same vicinity as the original story, but made several changes. It's what I would expect. They're never gonna
they made Harbinger Supergirl.
Yeah.
She was the independent character from Supergirl in the original.
Yeah, I didn't get that. That one I didn't get. I was like, "Oh, it's you, Supergirl!" Like all of a sudden, it was Harbinger, but then it was Supergirl, and then she was just acting like Supergirl, and I was like, "Wait."
It's almost like they merged Harbinger, Supergirl, and Wave Rider into one character.
It did look like fucking Wave Rider.
Yeah. I was like, did they make Wave Rider a girl?
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck was going on there, but it was real quick. She's only in a couple scenes before she becomes Supergirl, and then the show goes on. But yeah, it was good. I liked it. If you're a DC fan, this is like the first one I can be like, oh yeah, you should definitely watch this one. So yeah, I don't know. To me, honestly, like my only issue with the animated DC universe since these last few years since the previous one ended is simply that to come in, do some shitty movies, and then even if the Crisis on Infinite Earth stuff is good, that reboots everything to the new continuity that is going to be a kind of mainstay and joined with the movies and everything else. It kind of, to me, and maybe it's just me, it kind of makes the last universe less important, which sucks because I liked that universe. That all those movies that came between Flashpoint and Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, which I think we counted in one time. It's like 17 movies over the course of 8 years that were all really good. And I liked that universe. I liked the way it started with Flashpoint, and I liked the way it ended with Constantine telling Flash he's got to do it again. You've got to reboot it. Like this universe went to shit. You know what you've got to do, and you get Flash going back to do another Flashpoint. And I think that would have been a good place to start the new DCU, all the combined unit. Because in the meantime, we've gotten like 7 shitty fucking movies, and even if this Crisis movies are good, we got a bunch of shit before this in this animated universe.
What sucks? The Superman movie had a lot of potential because it's exactly kind of like the villain I wanted to see in a live action Superman movie to be the first villain. Parasite. Yeah. A hero, a villain that can actually humble Superman by stealing his powers. But then they handled it so poorly.
They just didn't do, and I think, I mean, and even like, well, you can say that about a few things, like the Green Lantern, the concept, the plot of that John Stewart Green Lantern movie was cool. You know what I mean? As far as how he gets.
Yeah, but starting out with Hal being a villain right off the bat, it's like without any explanation.
But like the execution was awful.
Yeah, you gotta have Hal's fall before you show him being evil.
Yeah. So there was, it just hasn't been done well at all. Like the whole thing hasn't been done well. But
so they start stories almost like in the middle of the story.
Yeah. Every one of them has been like that.
Yeah.
They've started all these animated movies like you just know the entire history of fucking all these characters and what's happened and what's led to everybody being where they're at, which is cool if you're a comic book fan. But if you aren't a comic book fan, and even if you just, I mean, let's be like, even if you just watched, if all you watched was the movies and the animated series, or the movies and the animated movies, right? Because DC hasn't had an animated series in a long time. You still wouldn't know what the fuck happened to Hal and how he became Parallax because they've never done that movie. They've never done that in live action. They've never done that in animated, right? Like, there's a lot you don't know.
Those 90s comic book runs when the Fall of the Heroes, the Nightfall, Death Superman. We did get Death Superman in somewhat twice, but we never got Nightfall. We never got the Emerald Twilight. And those would be great animated movies.
Yeah. Well, and we've never gotten a Nightfall animated movie either, have we? That I know of.
No.
Is that why Ryan Reynolds hates Green Lantern so bad and like, has made fun of it over the years, and even in Deadpool he went back and killed himself for taking the role?
Well, they should never introduce that version of Parallax in that movie.
Yeah.
The villain, what should have been the live action movie is what they did for the animated movie right afterwards, where they had Sinestro being a secret villain, overthrew his own. That should have been the live action movie. Sinestro training Hal, then it comes to find out Sinestro's evil. He's overthrown his own homeworld using the Green Lantern ring.
But no, we didn't get that. I still maintain, and I know this isn't popular, but I still maintain that Ryan Reynolds was a great choice for Hal Jordan at the time.
Yeah,
I think he could have been a great Hal Jordan in a good Green Lantern movie.
I think he would have been a better Guy Gardner, though.
Oh, he would have been a way better Guy Gardner. But I still think he was a solid choice for Green Lantern at the time.
Yeah.
It just was an awful movie.
Yeah.
It's very similar. We talked about this before. George Clooney would have made a great Batman in a good Batman movie, but
They
he
gave
got
him the
pile of shit.
They gave him the toy commercial Batman movie.
Yeah. So like, there's sometimes it's not always the actor's fault. I know a lot of times you see a shitty movie, you're just like you hate the face of that movie, which is whoever the lead actor is, but it's not always their fucking fault because sometimes good actors are in dog shit movies. But yeah, I don't know. But I'm curious about this whole new. I'm cautiously curious. Well, I'm curious and cautiously optimistic, I should say, about the new DC universe coming up. I don't know. I mean, in general, like most of the stuff that James Gunn has done, certainly the Guardian stuff, I think is the top. That's like the best thing he's ever done. But he's done other stuff too that I really liked. Whether it be Slither or whatever, right? Like in general, I like the stuff James Gunn does, and I think he usually does a pretty good job. I don't know that I see him as the guy to run DC.
Yeah.
I don't know
like that he's cast
or cares enough about DC.
I like that he's cast Nathan Fillion as a Green Lantern, but it's weird he casted Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's and he honestly he only did that because James Gunn is one of these dudes who, when he finds an actor he likes, he puts them in everything. And Nathan Fillion is an actor that James Gunn likes.
But Nathan Fillion's actually done the voice work for Hal Jordan in a lot of animated movies.
Yeah, he has. And if they were going to, and I think what you could have done, I think what would have been a better choice was to bring in Nathan Fillion as Hal Jordan, but an older Hal Jordan, with the express purpose of introducing like Jon Stewart or whatever, right? So
Kyle Rayner would be a good one to bring in.
Yeah, to introduce another Green Lantern that's good, but you start off with Hal Jordan, who's like in his late 40s, and he's been Green Lantern for a while, and we know we're going to see the transition to another Green Lantern. I think that would have been better than having him be Guy Gardner.
Or he's older now too. They could have done the live action Emerald Twilight.
They could have, yeah. I don't think they want to start jumping to that stuff. So
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Look, it's comic book movies. I always want comic book movies to be good. So yeah. I hope James Gunn does a great job and makes a bunch of fucking just awesome movies that I can enjoy. I just don't know. Like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic because he does not strike me as the type, and I've never heard him talk about it. I've never heard other people say things like, okay, when all the stuff was coming out and about, like, let's say Ben Affleck playing Batman, right? And even before that, right? Like, it was fairly common knowledge that Ben Affleck was a huge Batman fan, right? Mm-hmm. He had talked about shit in interviews. He knew a lot about the character, things like that, right? Like, you don't hear those types of stories about James Gunn having anything to do with the DC universe. And I'm not saying you need to have somebody who intimately knows the universe and the comics to do a good job, because maybe those people just hire good people that do know, but still, it makes me kind of hesitant.
Yeah, when he did the Suicide Squad, shows he didn't know anything about those characters. He had Mongal get took out by small arms fire.
Yeah.
A Superman level villain.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he'll be smart and he'll surround himself with a bunch of writers that know a lot about DC Comics. Let's hope. You know what I mean?
That's a big ass.
I guess now we're very used to, and even though this we don't really see evidence of this anymore. But if you go look at the first, 10, 12 years of MCU movies, right? Like, it was very evident Kevin Feige knew Marvel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They were pulling heavily from the Ultimate Verse.
Yeah. And you could tell he knew the characters. He gave a shit about the characters. He guided the movies and the universe in a way that made them good. Again, we don't really see evidence of this anymore, primarily because I don't think Kevin Feige has control over everything anymore because he's spread too fucking thin. But whatever, he's probably going to be gone anyway. The rumors are he's going to be gone after Secret Wars anyway, that he's leaving as the head of Marvel Studios. So I don't think it matters much longer anyway. But
with the original introduction of Sam Jackson as Nick Fury shows they were pulling from Ultimate Verse heavily because before Sam Jackson was ever in the MCU, the Ultimates basically it was like a dream casting. They made Nick Fury basically Sam Jackson in the Ultimate.
Oh, I heard a story, an interview. I saw an interview one time, and this is years ago, where they were asking somebody, I don't remember what interview this was. They were interviewing about the Marvel movies, but this was early. I think this was around the time the first Avengers came out. And they were asking about it. And he's like, no, yeah. He's like, I knew that they had used me as a template for Nick Fury. He's like, because at one point somebody from Marvel Comics had called my agent and asked about it when they were doing the Ultimate Universe. They had called because somebody at Marvel Comics wanted to make Sam Jackson the kind of template for that. And then he said, I don't remember in the interview, he says something like, well, it wasn't something we could actually give the likeness rights for or anything. He's like, so sometimes, if you read the comics, it looked like me and sometimes it didn't. But yeah, it was very evident from the very beginning that, that character was designed on Sam Jackson in the comics going back to what was that, 2001? When did Ultimate Comics start?
I couldn't say. It was early 2000s.
Yeah.
It had a good run. Then they decided to basically destroy it.
There was a Ultimate Comics helped to get me back into comics for years.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had been out of comics for a long time.
It was a lot darker, more mature.
It was a lot darker, more mature, but it was also just still really good stories.
Yeah.
Like it was still really good representations of the characters. All the Ultimate stuff was great. I loved Spider-Man, Fantastic Four. It was a great run on Fantastic Four.
It was written for more of an adult audience than regular comics.
Well, what was funny about it is it was written because originally the idea of Ultimate Comics was that it would be a great starting point to bring in new readers. And it was. But it was also fan service to people who had been reading comics for a really long time and were now no longer kids. So it appealed to two different audiences at the same time. It was a great starting point for people, for teenagers who'd never read a fucking comic before, that didn't know anything about Marvel and the history of Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four and the Avengers and all this shit. It was a great place to start, but it was also something that if you were reading comics back in the 80s as a kid, and now you're in your 20s or whatever, or your 30s or whatever, right? Like, you can read some stories that you get a fresh start and you get stories that are a little bit more mature, So I loved the Ultimate run. It wasn't perfect. There were issues with it. There were some characterizations that I didn't like as much as the, 616 original Marvel versions of the characters, right? But in general, it was really good. I mean, in general, they did a really good job with that whole run, which how long did it last? About 11 years? What did it last up until about like 2011, I think, before they killed it? It was about a 10-year run, give or take, something like that. But it was good. Anyway, I don't know why the fuck. How do we get on this? I don't know. I told you guys I didn't have a fucking plan for tonight.
Walking Dead. Did you watch it?
I did, and we already talked about it because you weren't here.
Okay.
And I waited. I even said when someone in the chat asked me about it 30 minutes into the show, well, I was waiting for Duke to be here, but apparently it's become very obvious that, he doesn't care about the Brotherhood. Duke doesn't care about us. And
lies.
So let's just go ahead and talk about it now. So we had a full 20-minute conversation about Walking Dead.
Okay.
And you didn't want to be here because you don't care about your friends anymore.
I care so much about my friends.
No, I said the same thing. Basically, I texted to you the other day. Trailer was great, but I'm not getting my hopes up.
Okay, trailer was great, and I will stupidly get my hopes up.
Mm-hmm.
So as always, you stay mild, and you're like meh, and I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. Yeah. It's gonna be amazing.
Every time.
I have hope though. Honestly, I have more hope than I did. That looked like a good trailer. It looked like we had some development. It looked like we had.
Well, we had this same conversation back during the summer when they showed the trailer for Daryl Dixon, and we were like, "Oh, and they were busted out the guns and the muskets, and look, it was a great trailer, and this looks like it's going to be great." We had this same conversation about Daryl Dixon.
Yeah, and it sucked.
And that was horrible.
Yeah,
that was awful.
Well, this is going to have Rick in it, though. That's the only thing that this does. This is going to have that nothing else has had in 5 years. So
true.
Just that it has Rick alone.
It's going to be good. It's still produced by Angela Kang.
Oh my gosh, who's anti-gun as hell.
So yeah, I'm not getting my hopes up for this one. Sorry. No. You get all excited for me. Yeah. And then here's the thing. If it turns out to be really good, I'll be happier than you will.
Nah.
I had no expectations for it.
That's true. Well, it looks good. He's got the Rick look when he was like, "Are you prepared to kill?" And he's like, "Look at me, sir. I am," or whatever he said. Anyway,
yeah, look at my eyes.
Look at my eyes. I don't know how they're gonna wrap it up. It's gonna be super weird. So, yeah, anyways, and who's the masked person? You got any ideas? I think it's Morgan.
I hope it's Morgan because Morgan left the show. He left Fear the Walking Dead to go find Rick.
Yeah, and it would be a really cool full circle if Morgan comes and saves Rick. I don't see
why you have Morgan leave the show, and he clearly makes his intentions to go find Rick very clear in that last episode he's on. Even the show even ended with him on that same walkie-talkie saying, "Rick, I don't know if you can hear me,
but I'm coming to get you.
I'm coming for you. I'm coming to find you." And all this shit. You know what I mean? Like, you don't do that unless you're planning to have him show up and find Rick.
Yeah.
So, I am fairly certain Morgan will be on this show.
Yeah. Only 6 episodes, though, man. That's going to be a short run. So, it's going to be like a movie.
Yeah.
But, anyways, I'm excited about it. It'll be good. I think we will have fun with it. So, either way.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm keeping my expectations low, and then if it's good, I will be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
So, all right. What else did I watch this week? Oh God, I finally watched. And I don't know if anybody in here has heard of this. I'm sure some of you have. I finally watched because it was finally available somewhere for me to see this privately produced Spider-Man movie called Spider-Man Lotus. And it was this big deal where this guy was, or this group of people or whatever, I don't fucking know. We're making this Spider-Man movie, this fan film Spider-Man movie that was like a feature length, like 2-hour Spider-Man movie. And it was a big deal because I guess Marvel was trying to sue him or some shit, or Sony or whatever, and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, it is probably the most awful thing I've ever seen. It is horrible. Like, this thing was being pumped as like, this is going to be the next greatest thing because these guys are coming in and doing what Sony and Marvel have never been able to do with Spider-Man before. And it is fucking awful. It is some of the most YouTube-looking shit I have ever seen in my life. Like, this thing is a steaming pile of shit. And apparently they spent a fuck ton of money on this movie to make this Spider-Man knockoff movie. And it is god awful. I don't know if anybody out there has even heard of this thing, Spider-Man Lotus. But do not watch this. Just stay the fuck away from it. It's awful. If you see it somewhere, because now it's starting to float around out there free in HD, just stay away. It is a waste of like an hour and 55 minutes. It is horrible. Like, I would rather watch, I don't know, the worst parts of Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3. Like, I don't know. I'd rather watch the Marvels again than watch this movie. Okay? It's horrible. Stay away from it. I just had to warn people of that. We got 2 season finales this week to shows that I've been enjoying quite immensely. The first one we'll talk about is For All Mankind. We got season 4 finale this week. Me and Leo were talking about it a little bit before the chat because apparently we're still the only 2 that watch it because the rest of you are morons. Greatest fucking show on television right now. Greatest fucking show on television. I don't know why people do not watch this show. It's fucking amazing. It's amazing. But we got the end of season 4, and I was telling my wife this last night. I was telling Leo this here just a little bit before the chat. It feels like now that we've gotten to the point. So the premise of the show, for those that don't know, I've said it 100 times. It's basically an alternate reality take. Like, what would happen if you changed one thing in the history of the world? How would the world be different? And the one thing that changed is Russia got to the moon first. How would the world be different? And it sends the world sends the United States and Russia and the rest of the world in a very different direction than we are currently. And each season takes place in a different decade. So season 1 was the 70s. Season 2 was the 80s. Season 3 was the 90s. Season 4, this took place in the 2000s. Next season's going to take place in 2012. And basically what happened is because Russia got to the moon first, the United States put way more effort into the space race than they did previously. So not only did we go to the moon, we then went to the moon many times. It became a regular thing. We built a base on the moon, like all this shit. And the advancement in scientific research that came because essentially the Cold War in this universe got turned into a space race, right? And it stayed a space race between the US and Russia. And both countries focused the majority of their energy into that, being the first one to get to the moon, being the first one to put a base on the moon, being the first one to mine on the moon, then being the first to get to Mars. And then like it advanced the space race like a lot better than we did in the real world. And that in turn advanced technology by a lot. So for instance, they had cell phones a lot earlier. They had flat screen TVs a lot earlier. Technology's more advanced in this world than where we were at any particular time. Right? Like, so it's changed a lot. And I was saying before the chat, like, this feels like watching this season feels like a prequel to The Expanse. This 4th season felt like a prequel to The Expanse. Because that's essentially where the 4th season takes place is on Mars. And it feels like a prequel to like what happened, because we know if you watch The Expanse that Mars is its own colony world, it's separate from Earth and all that kind of stuff. And this season felt like, oh, this is what happened that led to all that shit. That led to in 100 years later, Mars being like its own thing, separate from fucking the United States, or the United States, separate from Earth. And good. I cannot explain to you how damn good this show is. It's a meaty show though, right? Like every episode, man, there's a lot to every episode, and there's a lot of characters, and there's a lot of dialogue, and you got to watch. This is not a show you just casually put on. You know what I mean?
But it does capture your attention through all the episodes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like it's not boring at all.
No, Duke just left. I was gonna scare him with one of your clips.
He probably knew that, so he left. I don't know. He just showed up like 15 minutes ago. He showed up late and then just disappeared.
Yeah, he
not
showed up
say
40
anything?
minutes
Did he
late.
show up and he was quiet?
He briefly said something about Walking Dead and then left.
Dude, okay, did you see in the text chain my text about The Walking Dead, about how it's
Yeah,
this,
I saw it yesterday or whatever.
this
And
French
I
put on
insane.
humanity that's like back and, you know, didn't die somehow?
Yeah.
It's like a metaphor for zombies.
Yeah, it was funny.
And now it's like a rotting corpse that should have been dead long ago that's still walking around somehow, that no one wants to look at or smell or see or touch or anything. And yet it is.
It's still here. And yet again, as if you had been here just 10 minutes earlier, Duke's still all excited thinking this new Rick and Michonne show is going to be the greatest thing ever. And I'm like, okay.
We should figure out a way to like monetize that somehow, like capitalize on the fact that there's Duke
On
and
his
people like
optimism.
him. Yes, exactly. Like people who were just like we'll start selling like, I don't know, Walking Dead trading cards or something. I don't know what it is.
Every time a new show gets released, we put some shit on eBay, make money off of it. All the people like Duke who get excited when you know you're going to be disappointed.
We got movie correct crossbows for sale. That's what it is.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. But I have no idea.
What's like? Are they going back in time and going back to the beginning, or is it like gay ass future shit that they're dealing with in this one?
Walking Dead?
Walking Dead.
Well, it's just Rick's story now. They're bringing Rick back.
Oh, so he's a thing again? Like they're paying?
Yeah, I mean the whole point is he's been alive this whole time, and we're going to see, what's been happening to him. We're also going to see, because remember Michonne left in season 9 to go find Rick, so we're going to see her finally find him. Morgan is supposed to show up because he went off to find Rick. That's how he left Fear the Walking Dead.
Isn't his son dead?
Yeah.
So
The oldest.
So Carl's dead. His wife's dead. His best friend's dead.
I'm sorry, it's Coral.
Coral. Is the little girl dead?
No, she's still alive.
No.
And where has he been? Like his daughter. Oh my god, bro!
And Rick's got another son with Michonne now.
Yeah,
he's got caramel babies.
So, but yeah, I have no expectations for this show. I mean, if it's good, cool. I'll be glad that it's good, but I don't have any expectations that this is going to be a fucking good show at all. So,
Lead Lace Anarchy says Judith is alive and so is RJ. Who the fuck is RJ?
RJ is his son with Michonne. It's Rick Jr.
That's what RJ stands for.
I thought it meant it was Rick James.
Yeah. It's Rick James, bitch.
Hey, that would have been awesome if they named his son Rick James.
Yeah, it would have been. But anyway, yeah. So For All Mankind, greatest show on television right now. Just ended season 4. Everybody should go watch it. The other show that just ended was Monarch, which is the whole King Kong, Godzilla fucking universe of monsters thing that's going on right now. And the show was really fucking good. And it ended in a really good place too. The last 3 episodes are fucking great. It does have a slow start though. I will tell you that. Like the first 3 or 4 episodes, it's 10 episodes total. And the first 3 or maybe 4, it takes a while before shit starts happening. So there is that. And that can turn a lot of people off. I get that. Whatever. I stuck through it. I really liked it. Better than that last fucking Godzilla versus Kong movie that came out. That piece
Loved
of
it.
Shit. That
Loved
piece
it.
of shit movie. But Monarch was good. It ended in a great place. The characters were awesome. There's several twists in the last couple episodes, that explain some crazy fucking sci-fi shit that's going down. And I don't want to get into it in case you want to watch it. I will just say I give the show 2 thumbs up. I really enjoyed it, even though it did have a slow start. And if you like Godzilla and King Kong and all that shit, right? If you like Kong Skull Island, if you like Godzilla King of the Monsters, right? Like if you like some of these movies, like you got to watch this show because this show is going to play directly into the movies. That was the whole point of making the show, is to explain more about the backstory and the history of Monarch and all the shit that's going on. This is all going to play directly into those movies.
When you keep saying Monarch, and the guy from I think it was Venture Brothers keeps popping in my head.
Yeah, no, this is a different type of Monarch. So, both, however, based off of a butterfly. But
That is
yes,
true.
yeah.
Have you heard anything
Mighty Monarch
about season 2 of The Last of Us? If they're doing it or not?
Yeah, they're doing it, but I don't know when the fuck it comes out, though. I have no idea. You know, I'll be honest. Like in that show, I liked it, right? But it was not something that I was like. Well, like some people were coming out and just being like, "This is the greatest show ever." No, it wasn't. Like it was good. I enjoyed it. I love a good post-apocalyptic, shit hit the fan.
Yeah.
Storyline. I liked it, but it also had some episodes that, like, it was one of those shows where, like, it'd have a good episode and then a boring episode, and then a good episode and then a boring episode, and then a good, you know what I mean? Like, it was like that. Yeah. It was enough to keep me entertained, and I enjoyed it overall. But like, it was
very surprised with the announcement of Abby casting for season 2.
I haven't heard it.
I would have figured that they would pick that really buff lesbian girl they picked for everything. She was in Mandalorian as the
Gina Carano
spy.
You talking about Gina Carano?
No,
she's not a lesbian.
I don't know.
The buff lesbian.
Yeah. Oh my god, she'd make a horrible fucking casting choice. She doesn't look anything like the character.
Wait, who are we talking about?
Abby's the one at with the golf club.
Oh, I'm thinking of what's her face, Ellie. Never mind.
You're thinking Ellie, yeah.
I don't know. I never played the fucking game, so I don't know. I just know
Abby's a really buff, like bull, like lesbian, looking lesbian character. But she's. They made sure to have like an anal sex scene in the game, though.
Ooh, now I want to play the game.
Not really.
No.
I know it's not the right chat, and I won't go too far into it, but I ordered something from a public service announcement, and it's going to be here in my hands after a 3-day waiting period.
God damn.
Nice.
I
didn't know they did that for dildos.
I know.
Well, I mean, it's a power tool.
After you get to a certain size, there's a wait.
There's a wait list. If you get one of the big black ones, when you get like the big black ones, anything over 10 inches, there's a waiting period on it because it can be considered a dangerous
device. Point where we were like talking about saving up money together and pitching in on like this like $200 giant black dildo to send to you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that was that was a while ago now, so it's obviously not going to happen. But there was like this ridiculously expensive, ridiculously thick.
Oh, that big fucker! Yeah, somebody
my God.
was telling me about that. It's like a fucking 3 foot tall dildo or something.
Yeah, it's like the size of like a fucking 8-year-old child.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned that to me at one point. Yeah,
it's an odd fucking comparison.
Yeah, I mean. It would have been a waste of money because it's not anything my wife would have let me keep in the house. I would have had to get rid of it.
Like maybe a 9-year-old. I'm not sure.
Like, I don't know what anybody expected would happen. Like, if you want to send that to me, cool. It'll probably end up in the dumpster.
We were hoping you'd put it on the shelf behind you, to be honest.
No. So it means it.
It'd be pretty fucking hilarious on the shelf behind you. Like,
it would be like, it'd be funny for a minute when I did like an unboxing or something like that, and then it would have been just a waste of money.
It might get some
it would be way funnier if you sent me one that was small enough that I could like keep it in a box in the closet or something, or like occasionally I would play a game where I'd just like put it on the shelf somewhere behind me and wait for somebody to notice it. You know what I mean?
Do they make like a M16 bayonet or whatever? Do they make a dildo version of that?
Somebody probably does, and it's
That
probably
like has the
3D
handle
printed, and it's
click
probably on
in.
Etsy.
No, you might all this talk might get some
goddamn $1 million idea right there, man.
Yeah.
All this talk might get some kind of articulated things, excited thing.
That's true. We don't want to get any ninjas too excited.
Although imagine like that's your leg. Like, okay, I'm gonna leave this company to my children. Oh, that's great. What do you guys make?
We make M16
Marital aids.
dildo sheaths. They're very popular in Japan. I don't know.
Fits right on your AR or AR-10.
Exactly. Anyway, welcome to Dildo Talk on the Week in Geek podcast. What else did I watch this week? Oh, I rewatched Black Sails. I rewatched it over the last like 3 weeks. It took me like 3 weeks to watch it. Black Sails. Anybody in here watch Black Sails back in the day? I say back in the day. It ended in like 2017, I think. So it was like 2013, 2017.
Keiko's staring into my soul right now.
Yeah. She does that. She certainly does that. Oh,
I just puked a little bit.
No, you didn't. You fucking lying piece of shit.
God damn it! Now there's two.
Anyway, what was I saying? It's like okay, we got her from like DS9 in a serious dramatic role. We got her from like some sitcom down there in the bottom, and then we got her in like I don't know, one of those USA
like
After Dark movies.
Oh,
up here.
Oh, like the softcore porn movies.
Yeah, remember those USA movies used to come on Saturday night. What was that show? That show like back when I was like 12. There was a show used to come on USA called Silk Stockings.
Oh, I remember that.
Remember that shit?
Yes. I used to watch that.
Remember Real Sex?
I do on HBO.
Yeah.
Yep. But the fuck was that?
Red Shoe Diaries.
Thing. I was watching Black Sails. Damn it!
That was Showtime, wasn't it?
Black Sails for anybody that doesn't know. Black Sails is a prequel to Treasure Island. Okay, everybody in here has
softcore porn.
Has read Treasure Island, right? It was a required reading when I was a fucking kid. So Treasure Island, you know, you got Billy Bones shows up in the tavern and fucking talks about it, Captain Flint's treasure, and then he dies, and then you know the kid goes off and ends up on a ship with fucking Long John Silver, who turns out knows about the treasure and all this shit. And Long John Silver's an old peg leg pirate, and they go find the treasure on fucking Skull Island, or what's it called? Skeleton Island, or whatever the fuck it's called. Anyway, so Black Sails.
Epstein Island.
I don't think so, but it could be.
Does it eat some really greasy fried fish?
Black Sails is a 4-season series about the primary character is Captain Flint. Okay, so Captain Flint's the main character. Billy Bones is in it. Long John Silver, who when he first shows up is not called Long John Silver. His name is just John Silver. He's in it. A lot of other characters. And the show basically took that idea of, okay, we know eventually these characters and everything that they go through is going to lead to the story of Treasure Island. But also, how do we mix in real shit that was going on in the early 18th century when it had to do with pirates? So you've got characters in it that were real characters, like Edward Teach, right? Who was Blackbeard, most famous pirate ever. By the way, did you know in real life, Blackbeard, the real Blackbeard, who is like without a doubt, I think the most famous pirate in the world, was only actually a pirate for 2 years before he fucking died, and he died at 38 years old. That's true.
I knew that one time.
I'm not too up on my pirate history, but I believe you.
Yeah. So anyway, so like
he had the syphilis.
Yeah,
did
but like,
did he get the black syphilis like Duke's afraid of?
No, that's the white syphilis that he's afraid of. But yeah, so like Blackbeard's in it. Fucking Jack Rackham or Calico Jack was a real pirate who actually sailed with Blackbeard is in it. Fucking Anne Bonny is in it. She's a real pirate. Like they incorporate a lot of real characters who were real pirates and real people at that time, and they include the history of Nassau. Which for those who don't, I mean, back in the day, Nassau was like pirate central. That's where like the pirates they had like essentially pushed out the British government on Nassau Island, and fucking they essentially ran shit there, right? The pirates did, and so it incorporates all that real history into this. Also, the fictional characters of Billy Bones, Long John Silver, and Captain Flint.
Is that why the government named it NASA?
No, Nassau. But
right,
and it also goes into a lot of the story that over the course of the show, it goes into a lot of the actual history of how, it was Nassau and the pirates of Nassau who actually were instrumental in helping a lot of the freed slaves at that time. Who lived on Nassau, who lived on other islands. You know what I mean? There's a reason why a lot of the Bahamas, today is full of people who are the ancestors of slaves, because that's where a lot of those people who got away and all that kind of shit, they ended up there. And a lot of that in real history had to do with the pirates there, because the British government had no control of that area. So they couldn't even control the slaves. So there were a lot of slaves that had resisted and freed themselves and helped the pirates maintain and keep Nassau and the other islands around there free and out of British control and all this kind of shit. So there's a lot of real history mixed into this fucking show. It is a phenomenal fucking show if you've never watched Black Sails. Like, it is probably one of the best shows in the last 20 years. Like, I'm no exaggeration. One of the best television shows in the last 20 years. Now, you have to be prepared when you watch this, because there's a lot of fucking and tits in this show, because it's realistic to the time period. So I don't think that would be most of my audience. I think most of my audience wouldn't give a shit that they're, why is there so many tits in this?
Calm down. Penises?
There is only one. There's only one penis in the entire 4 seasons of the show.
Are all the tits
covered with
fucking herpes and syphilis and fucking like, I don't know, whatever else shit they have?
There's a lot of the prostitutes, because like one of the main one of the main characters is a prostitute who eventually becomes a madam on the show. And so there's a lot of secondary characters that are like prostitutes and shit. And some of them just like fucking, and they're very like, I don't even know, like there's one at one point, like it's very crude. I don't know. Cause there's like at one point they're like trying to get some information out of somebody. So this one pirate goes to the madam and is like, I need to get information out of this dude. And the whore's like fucking, oh fuck, I just fucking lick his asshole, he'll tell me anything. And then she goes and gets the information out of him by licking his asshole. Like, it's real. It's like that type of shit. It's very realistic, I would say. Lots of asshole licking, apparently.
Matt,
lots of
I have some information that you might want to get out of
like
me.
Massive amounts of death and action and pirate action and shit. Who doesn't love good pirate action? Come on.
I've got some information I'm keeping from you, Matt, but there's one way to get it.
Shiver me timbers? I don't know.
I mean, if that's what you want to call it.
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, how did the madam get information out of the sailor?
Oh, I got you.
There you go.
I got you. Click. Yeah, it took a second. But
the brown-eyed pirate.
Just a little. I'm gonna just a little tongue punch in the fart box there.
Brown tongue, the pirate.
Yeah. Brown beard.
They call her Brown Lips.
Well, there is a second Blackbeard in the show. There's a prostitute called Blackbeard, and she's got a beard somewhere else.
It's crusty. It's crusty. It wasn't originally black. It was blonde.
It's the Krusty Krab.
Mm-hmm.
Come get your Krabby Patties. I'm feeling it, Mr. Krabs.
It's true. But anyway, show's great. I rewatched it. I watched it originally when it came on. I haven't watched it since it ended back in like 2017. Highly, highly, highly recommend this show. Like, it's up there with like the best of Game of Thrones and pick any other fucking great show that's been on. But it's like consistent, and it knows when to end too. It did 4 seasons. It gets a beginning, middle, and end. Like, it didn't get canceled. They completed the stories, completed the story arc. You get a satisfying ending for the show. It's great, man. Fucking love it. And again, if you read Treasure Island as a kid, it works into that too. So it's a little bit playing into like, classic fucking literature. And then a lot of realistic historical shit that happened at that time. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. So, and it's everywhere now. Of course, I watch everything on F movies. So, but it's definitely one of the best shows that that you should watch. Man, I watched this show called The Consultant. Anybody out there in the chat watch this show? I know nobody on the panel has. I'd barely fucking heard of it. Like, I remember seeing like the first episode when it first dropped on Amazon like last year, but then I didn't want to watch it week to week. So I watched it like a week ago or something because it's only, I don't know, 8 episodes, and it was like a quick buzz through in like a day on like Saturday or something like that. And it's this weird show about this app company that makes game apps for phones. And in the very first episode, some kid who's doing a tour of the offices, they're taking like school kids on a tour of like this app company, and one of the kids who looks like he's about 12 pulls out a gun and shoots the guy who created the company. And then like the next day some dude shows up, and it's what's the dude's name? I'm blanking on his name. He's the dude from his Glorious Bastards and Django Unchained. What's his name? The German guy.
Brad Pitt.
No, the German dude.
I know who you're talking
Samuel
about.
L. Jackson.
I can't remember his name, but everybody knows who I'm talking about.
Great actor.
Yeah, great actor. But anyway, he shows up and is like, well, I'm the consultant. And right before he died, he signed the company over to me. I can't tell you what the fuck this show was about. So I'm just mentioning it so that you don't do the same thing I did. Thank you, Ledlace. Christopher Waltz. That's his name.
Why can't you tell us what it's about?
Because I don't fucking know. Like, the dude shows up and he's really fucking weird. And so 2 of the characters that work in the offices are like trying to figure out who he is and how he ended up with control of the company and all this shit. And then they find out like there's like this one weird scene where they're watching fucking videotape from the guy's office when this dude Christoph Waltz shows up and fucking got him to sign the company over to him. And it's like, oh, in 14 minutes he just walked in, he didn't have an appointment, didn't know this dude, and 14 minutes later he walks out with him signing the thing over. And then while he's in there, like, the guy who runs the company gives Christoph Waltz a blowjob for some reason. And like, it's just this weird shit of like, you don't know who this dude is. He's got a made up name, which you figure out is Regis Patoff, which comes from registration U.S. Patent Office, right? Like, he's got a made up name. At some point in the show, you find out he's got a skeleton made of gold for some reason that's never explained. It's not. Is this dude like the fucking devil? Is he a demon? Like, and then the show ends, and like, there's no answers given. It's a weird fucking show, and I don't even know what the fuck I watched. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm confused. I walked away from that show more confused than when I went into it.
Are you saying we should watch this too?
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying you probably shouldn't.
Oh, okay.
You probably should not watch it. That's what I'm saying. because I could not wrap my head around what the fuck that show was even about. It didn't make no goddamn sense. Oh, there's this other show I watched. It's on season 3. Y'all heard of the show? It's on network television, so probably not, because who the fuck watches network television anymore? But the show called La Brea. I'm sure somebody in the chat's watched La Brea, or at least knows what it is. So this is a show that you can tell is trying to be the next Lost, right? And the premise is essentially a sinkhole opens up in Los Angeles in like modern times. Well, when the show starts, which was 2021, and a bunch of people fall in it, like right in the middle of Los Angeles. A bunch of people fall in it, and somehow they end up like, I don't know, 80,000 years ago in the past or something like that, right? I don't know when the fuck it's supposed to be. Long time ago, where there's saber-toothed tigers and shit like that, right? And then there's this mystery of like what's going on, how did they end up there? And it's just this large, confusing fucking thing where like one guy who didn't get sucked in, but his family did, turns out he fucking is from that time period, but at some point was brought into the future to 1988 where as a child, and he was raised, and now he's starting to remember it, and then he finds another sinkhole and goes down into it to find his fucking family. And then there's a bunch of people from the fucking future, even further in the future than 2021, who originally opened the time portal back to the past to try and save the fucking future. And they're doing crazy fucking maniacal shit. And they're the ones causing all these portals to open up that go to different times and sinkholes to open up. Anyway, it's one of these shows that when a season's over so far, because there's only been 2 seasons, 3rd season just started, only has 1 episode out. It's a show that I would binge watch. Like after the 1st season came out, because there's only 10 episodes, I'd binge watch it. The show is not good, by the way. The show is not good because, first of all, you can tell it's trying to be Lost, and it spends way too much time with character development on a bunch of fucking shitty characters that aren't good. It's got a bunch of second-rate actors playing all the roles. No offense to some of them, because some of them have been in shit that I've seen that I've liked, but it's just not a good show across the board. But the plot, I will say, I keep watching it just because I want to know what the secret is. The mystery and what's going on with the people that are traveling through time. The overall plot points of the show are interesting enough that I kind of want to see how it resolves itself. But that's only 10% of the show. The other 90% of the show is boring and sucks.
Did you see that video of the guy?
Can I fucking finish?
Oh, I thought you were done. Sorry.
God damn it.
Well, anyway, there's 7-minute diatribes.
And I just want to say, I just want to explain how ridiculous this show is. Because at some point last season, I don't fucking remember anymore, there's a character that stayed in the future that then comes back to try and stop the evil scientists or whatever. And he is supposedly a character that works with the DOD, and he's been training for a long time for this mission to go back in time and stop these evil scientists from doing what they're doing in the past. Okay? He's been training for 10 years to do this. He works with the fucking Department of Defense. He shows up back in time to go take out these fucking evil scientists that have an entire compound built 60,000 years ago, surrounded by fucking guards. And he comes back in time with a bug out bag and a 1911 with 2 magazines. How fucking unrealistic is this? I'm sorry. No, first of all, they would have sent a team of fucking SEALs or some shit, or they would have sent back one dude with I don't know, an AR and a couple Glocks and a backpack full of magazines and shit. And what the fuck? It's the most unrealistic thing I've ever seen. I just had to mention that. Why the fuck would you send somebody back in time to take on a compound of fucking armed guards with a 1911 and 2 magazines? Does that sound realistic to anyone at all? No, it doesn't. You're welcome.
2 world wars, Matt.
Yeah, bullshit.
2 world wars.
It was there for 2 world wars.
Did you see that video? It was a pool party in Israel where a fucking sinkhole opened up beneath the pool and like sucked all the water down like a whirlpool. Like it went from like a full pool to an empty pool in like no time at all, and like took 2 people with it.
No,
dude, it's insane. And I didn't know that they went back in time and fought Nazis or whatever.
They went back in time and fought
I
evil
thought they just
scientists
drowned,
from the 2080s who went back in time and they fought Sabretooths and shit.
I mean, I thought when you fell into a fucking sinkhole, you just die usually, but whatever.
No, you go back in time. That's true.
In time.
That's why you want to avoid it. Who
okay.
the fuck wants to end up back before there was internet? Nobody does.
So like in Alaska and in like parts of Alaska near the North Pole and like especially on glaciers, there can be these, it's like false ice that happens. So it'll be like this huge fucking crevasse that drops down like 800 feet or something fucking down into the ice, right? But then like the wind blows and it leaves like a little sheet, like 1 inch thick or less, like a little sheet of ice on top of it. And so like dudes will be exploring in fucking Antarctica, like, oh, let's walk over here. That looks like solid ice. And then fall into an 800,000, however many feet deep crevasse, never to be seen again. Because like if that happens to you, just like,
yeah, you're not getting out of that shit.
Yeah, it's like you might as well be at the bottom of the ocean. Like no one's getting to you.
Although there's some videos I've seen online where there's these dudes that, and I don't know where they do this. I don't know where you would go, but they go find these crevasses that are full of water in, wherever the fuck they go. I don't know if this is Antarctica or the Arctic or Alaska or where the fuck they're at, right? Where they find them full of water and they get in with their fucking suits and they go all the way down and explore these underwater fucking crevasse tunnels because, they're full of water. So they know they can get back out. And some of this shit down there is fucking crazy because it's the only way you can go down there and see it because it's the only way you can get back out, right? Is if it's full of water. So they go out like in the summertime when the melt off has happened enough that these crevasses fill with water. So you can go down there and fucking explore all these giant, like they're saying, 1,000-foot deep cracks in the, in the planet or whatever the fuck it is and explore all these fucking little tunnels that have been carved out by whatever the fuck it is and shit. It's pretty cool looking shit. I would never do that shit. Fuck that.
So I've been on like an Egypt binge lately, learning about like ancient Egypt and stuff. And
yeah.
So the Great Pyramid itself, if the timeline of which Khufu has been quoted as to the timing of it being built is to be believed, then these stones, the size like that weigh as much as a car, each one of them would have to be placed every 2 seconds or something like that in order to get it done in the amount of time that they said it got done, which is physically impossible, right? But that aside, like to build the Great Pyramid, the first thing that they did was clear away all of the sand completely down to bedrock before they even started building it. And then they put out like
didn't they go below the bedrock? Didn't they dig out the bedrock?
Part of it is dug into the bedrock. Like one of the corners is bedrock, and they just kind of like, replace. So they measured it out at that point, right? Like, here's what it's going to look like. Here's what it's going to do. There's no fucking writing anywhere on the Great Pyramid. In the Great Pyramid, no hieroglyphics, no like made by this guy, no timestamp. This is the year we did it, and yeah, so they started off by like getting rid of all of the sand, and they put down like 1 million blocks, like tiles that are each this like weigh as much as a car before they even started building it. It's like insane how fucking much work that was.
The more I have, and I it's something I guess, I don't know. I watched Stargate, in 1992 when it came out, which probably piqued my interest, and then watched the show and shit. So it's something I've mildly been interested in a long time. But over the years, the more I've learned about the pyramids and the Sphinx, especially, because they've dated the Sphinx back even further than the fucking pyramids. And like you look at some of the stuff, like the runoff, like how the Sphinx is in almost like its own little channel. It's kind of dug out of the bedrock, and they look at the erosion on like the face of the Sphinx and the erosion over the wall's edge that go into the dugout place where the Sphinx fit, where it sits. And like they're like, there's no way this erosion happened if these were built by the Egyptians. And the more you dig into this shit, and the more they've discovered that the whole like, oh, the pyramids were built to bury the pharaohs in. No, they weren't. Not one single fucking mummy has ever been found in the fucking pyramids ever. Right? There's no evidence of that. It was something that came out in like the 1890s that some scientist, some archaeologist was like, I think that's why they built them, and it stuck. And so that's just been like the thing that's been repeated forever. They're not giant tombs. And all the evidence we find on these things show they're way older than the Egyptian Empire.
Dude, they think
way fucking older.
They think that there's tunnels going underneath the Sphinx and the Great Pyramid and connecting like all of these complexes together.
Oh yeah.
But since it's in Egypt, and Egypt is like backwards and third world and corrupt as fuck and shitty as fuck and like a dirt hole, like any kind of project takes fucking 20 years for them to get approval, takes 20 years for them to get the funding, and then they finally get it. And by the time they get down to places, like they got to leave guards behind and stuff because there's looters that'll come by and steal everything. So like they just don't go into places. They're like, okay, there's this whole fucking complex. We could pump the water out and go down there, or we could just leave it full of water so no one can go down there. Hey, there's these tunnels underneath the Sphinx that we think we could. Or we could just leave them and never fucking find out. I don't know. It's either way.
Well, there's this guy, and I forget his name. And I've seen him in an interview. And he brought pictures, and he's been down there, and he's like, there are drawings of all these tunnels down under the stuff that has been explored. He's like, and there are drawings that show that there's tunnels that go down, and they show entrances to other tunnels. He's like, but if you go down there now, and he like took pictures, and they were showing pictures of it. He's like, because he went down there and he took pictures, they fucking walled it off, so you can't go down some of these tunnels anymore. They fucking like put up fucking doors and latches and gates and shit in the last however many decades to prevent people from going so far down into these tunnels to go where these drawings show there should be way more fucking tunnels that go way farther. They've blocked people from going into them.
Dude, under the Bent Pyramid, there's these there's like a huge complex of tunnels there too, like underneath the pyramid. And there's these jars that are made out of stone that are like perfectly machined, like they were made on a lathe, like millions of them. So many that there's just like there's broken ones everywhere, and like no one cares about them, and they're just like everywhere. Like no one knows how they were made, no one knows when they were made. And then there's these stone boxes with nothing in them that are like polished stone on the inside and outside, fit together like you made it on a CNC milling machine.
Yeah.
Like it's insane, like the level of precision. And they say that how did they make those? Well, they had obsidian stone that was harder than this whatever stone it is that they're carving into, and they would just pound it with the obsidian stone until it was the shape that they wanted.
Yeah, which
like
is
no fucking shit. No fucking way, dude. There's no fucking way.
What's the one guy's name? He's the older guy. I forget all these people's name. Anyway, he's an archaeologist, and he went and took pictures, and I can't remember where it's at. Is it around the Sphinx, or is it somewhere else where they have all those statues that are like fucking 20 feet tall of the people standing there or whatever? And he took all these really, really detailed pictures of like the faces, and he took those to like stone workers around the world and showed them these pictures, and then like ran these pictures through CAD programs, and the faces are perfectly, according to a CAD program, a computer program, these faces are perfectly symmetrical. And he took these pictures around and showed people the CAD, wire diagrams of all this stuff. These people who like carve into stone for a living with modern tools, and was like, with modern tools, could you reproduce this perfectly symmetrical face on this statue? And they're like, no. He's like, I couldn't do that today. With the machinery I have today, I could not reproduce the perfectly symmetrical faces of these fucking statues.
Dude,
and we're supposed to believe they did it with like fucking hammers and chisels and shit.
So there's two things that are kind of weird. Number one, and this is applicable to like the ancient Mayan and Aztec or whatever fucking temples in the in the United States, in the Americas. The oldest blocks, the bases of these buildings are always the biggest blocks, and as the newer stuff that gets built on top of it is always not as good as the original shit that was at the base. Like they're not the blocks don't fit together as well. They're smaller, so they're easier to fucking maneuver and carry. But the ones at the bottom of they're like ungodly big that we don't have equipment that could move that kind of stone today because we just don't need to. Like, I guess we could figure it out if we needed to today, but like we don't have anything that can move like a 3,000 ton block.
Yeah.
Like we just don't have anything. And then the other thing is the like pictures that they have, like, and this is true both again in the Americas, in ancient Chinese temples and pyramids, because there's a whole fuck ton in China that no one knows about. There's more pyramids in China than there is in South America.
Yeah.
It's insane how many there are. Anyway, they've got these old pictures, these old like paintings or whatever. And in South America, China, and Egypt, why is the guy carrying a purse?
Well, he was gay.
Every single one of them has a purse, and it's never explained. It's just like, yeah, of course he has the purse because he's the leader, and he's got like, what is the bag? What is the fucking handbag that they all fucking have?
A satchel.
I mean, I don't know, dude. Is it like alien tech? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. There's some crazy shit. The more you look into it, the more you become convinced that, like, there's no way they did this. The people living at the time that we claim created these things could have created those things.
Right. Like, it's like someone from years in the ancient past and like the annals of time during the Ice Age that we don't know about created these things, and then fucking crazy shit happened and everyone died off, and then the ancestors of the people who survived one day stumbled upon these fucking giant megalithic structures and were like, oh, we built that.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. That's what it seems like. I do got a couple super chats out there. MSB says, note to self, dental floss will be in demand in SHTF. Hoard some of that. Probably true. And then Totally the ATF says he's using futuristic mags that have 1,000 rounds. Oh, yeah. The dude who brought back a 1911 to take on a fucking basically an army. Yeah. Good. I'm glad.
If you had to go back to, like, you're going to go back and fight in the Crusades, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can bring back anything you've got in your office. What are you grabbing?
All of it? Everything I have.
Do you think about like 1,000 rounds in a AR-15 in a medieval battle?
Yeah.
Like, you guys win. You just fucking win.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna win. It's fine.
Yeah. You probably don't even have to use all those rounds because the minute like those people see
start dropping,
start taking people out, they're gonna be like, "Yo, what the fuck?"
He's got God on his side.
Yeah.
This is my boomstick.
Exactly. You probably only have to use a couple mags, and then you're just like, everybody else like, okay, I'm done. They're going to start worshiping your ass, make you king.
Dude, if there was actual time travel,
don't
you think there'd be like, come back to ancient, like Jurassic period world and hunt some fucking dinosaurs, because it doesn't matter. They're all dead now. They got hit by a fucking meteor. So you can kill them, you can shit on them, you can do whatever you want because they're all dead and fucking gone, and it didn't make it. Like the butterfly who flapped his wings got hit by a fucking comet, and it doesn't matter anymore.
I mean, maybe they do. And that's why they do it and get away with it, and we would never fucking know.
I wonder what dinosaur tastes like.
What
like
if you kill the wrong one, then we don't get fried chicken?
Like a brontosaurus steak? Is it just like
That's
a big
true.
piece
you
of
don't want to
fucking
kill
chicken?
the one that you don't want to kill the one that led to chicken.
Just don't kill anything that flies. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
Bring some back and
Jesus.
release them out in Florida.
But then you like sneeze on one and fucking you disappear because you changed everything.
Calhoun in the chat says, I saw that conspiracy theory movie with Mel Gibson after I heard you talk about it on one of Honda's chats. Good movie. I recommend it. Yeah, it's a damn good movie. Conspiracy Theory is a great movie. I love that movie.
Mel Gibson's a great actor.
He actually really is. He's not like a Gary Oldman level actor, but he's a really good actor. He picks his roles very well, I think, and has for a long time. Although, after all that stuff that happened to him in the 2000s, he did start picking some shitty movies to be in because I think he just couldn't get a fucking job. And then Calhoun's like, read my last chat, please. I just did. I beat you to it. Look at that. Look at that.
I wonder if him and Kanye West hang out. Like they've got very similar views on.
They got some similar ideologies on some things. I think maybe they might. But yeah. Anyway, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for tonight. We are done for this evening for this edition of the Week in Geek. We're done. Like I said, I had no topics for tonight. We just kind of went through some shit, shot the shit, talked, and had some fun. I'm tired. I helped somebody move today in addition to going to the range this morning. So I'm worn the fuck out. I'm going to go lay in bed, and my wife wants to watch Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, sorry.
So watch what? What'd you say?
You said my wife wants to, and I said bang.
Well, she wants to do that too, but she wants to watch Beverly Hills Cop because the new one comes out this summer, so she wants to watch all the movies. The new Beverly Hills Cop 4 or whatever comes out this summer, which had a great trailer. We talked about that a few weeks ago when they dropped that trailer. Yeah, I haven't watched Beverly Hills Cop in a while, so we were going to watch Beverly Hills Cop.
I was watching an interview
that's good. So,
well, I was watching an interview with Eddie Murphy about they was talking about like some of the action scenes with the reporters. It's like, yeah, I've aged well, but I'm still an old man.
Yeah,
they were talking about. Okay, that was really good, but can you do it with more vigor? It's like
nope.
Like, no, I'm old.
Like, what the fuck? Anyway, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it. We will see you guys next time. Lots going on. We'll be back on Monday for the NEA chat, and then back next Friday with Jared for more toy shit, and then again, more geek chat next week. So that will do it for today. Enjoy the rest of your weekends, you motherfuckers. Hope you all have a great weekend and a great week. It's supposed to be cold, although I guess for some of y'all, if you're up north, it's already cold. The cold doesn't hit us until Monday, I think, is when the sub-freezing weather hits us down here.
It's gonna be.
We gotta wait till Monday. Right now, it's still fucking. Oh, it wasn't horrible today. It was in the low 70s today, which for
it was negative 8 degrees when I left for work this morning.
Yeah, no, it was 73 today here. So
it was 15 degrees.
I basically live in tropical weather. I mean, it's, you know what I mean? That's where I fucking live. So. Yeah, but we're supposed to get I don't know. It's supposed to get down into mid-20s Monday or Tuesday. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, that will do it for today, guys. We will see you guys later. Enjoy your fucking weekend, and we will see you guys next time. So later, dudes.